Okay, bit better review on this probably I think than before. So the Eheim automatic feeding unit comes in this box, and this is it. Kind of showed it in the previous video, but I'll quickly recap. So there's the buttons on the top here. The branded Eheim button is for manual feeding, so you click it and it automatically feeds straight. Well, it feeds once right there and then. These three buttons are, you can just about read it, mode, plus sign and set, and the instructions are pretty clear on how to use them. Once you've set the time, which I think I did without even looking at the manual, that's kind of how easy it is. You can see on the screen there that it reads the time and it says 1 and an arrow, well, a single arrow pointing downwards. If I press the mode button, you see that the 1 with a single arrow is due to go off at 7 o'clock. You can do 2 arrows, 0 arrows, and the arrow refers to how many times the device will rotate during one feeding. So the first feeding is set for 7 o'clock and it's going to rotate 1 time. If you do 2 arrows, it rotates 1 time, waits a minute, and then rotates again. So it kind of spreads the feed out. And then you can do feeding number 2, which I haven't set, but you can do the same thing, 3 and 4. So there's up to 4 feedings and up to 2 rotations, and you can switch any one of them off by having no arrows, 1 arrow for a single rotation and 2 arrows for a double rotation, any combination of those. And then yeah, that's it for the kind of clever bit. This piece on the end you fill up with pellets. I wouldn't advise flake after all the reviews I've read of flake getting clogged up, even though this has the ventilation shaft built into it. And then what you do is you just slide this piece on the end and you can adjust the size of the opening. It does like wriggle a little bit in between settings, so I'm probably going to put a piece of tape across here, and for where I need it excuse me guys, for where I need it, it's kind of 2 clicks I think, so the opening is it's about 2 millimeters, so it's pretty small. Let me just show you an issue we had earlier with batteries. So if I take the back cover off, you can look inside. This is where the batteries go, and there's a little label at the top here which shows you how to put the batteries in, and it's just really doesn't tell you which side is positive and which side is negative. It's just a picture of 2 batteries. Not clear at all. Anyway, this is the correct way. So the one by the sign should be the negative side up, and the little nipple thing positive side on the one away from it. You can see the little impeller thing that spins and that sucks air in, and yeah, it kind of comes out the other side in this little ventilation. You can kind of see all the way through to the light on the other side. Drop the battery now. And then you shine that through, that blows through this little grate here, which is on the end of the container, which I have now filled up with some pellets. So I'll put it all back together and we'll press the button and see how it looks. Okay, and then if I do this, let's see. These are the pellets that I used, just stuff I happen to have in. I've ordered some new era marine pellets, which are say a 1.5 millimeters. So I think they're a bit bigger than these ones, so I might have to play around with that. But the setting on the end here with just a couple of millimeters wide is what I need for this. I think that's about right. So we'll click and show you it in action. and that's it. You can kind of see the amount of pellets that came out. They're absolutely tiny, less, probably about 1 millimetre or so wide, titchy little things. So yeah, I'll have to play around with how much to give. That looks okay for one feeding on my tank at the minute, and then I'll just see how it goes. I don't feed pellets very often, so I'm going to play with it for a few days before I go on holiday, and play with it with the new pellets. I might try a mix and see how that goes. I've got about 3 weeks or so before I go, so I'm going to have a good old play. That's it. So the thing I did notice, this comes with a little bracket too, and you can screw. This has a single screw that goes through the middle there. There is a hole for a second one. It doesn't come with a second one. There's no hole to screw it into, so I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with that. Maybe it's used for multiple devices. Anyway, you can put a screw through the bottom of this into the base here, and then screw this onto the side of your tank if you want to. I'm going to just sit it on, I have a rim on my tank, so I'm going to sit it on the rim much like it is on the box here, and it will just hang over the water and drop it in. That should be enough with the ventilation. I'm hoping an open top tank, should be okay. The one thing I did notice when I practiced there, had a little go at this straight into the water before, and the fish kind of went wild for the pellets. I dropped it in where the outlet is, so it kind of blew around in the water. It got picked up by the power heads, but there were quite a few pellets that floated on the surface. So I'm going to look to do a little food docking station kind of thing. I don't know what you call them. Anyway, so it's going to retain the food, any food that does float, and hold it there rather than going over the weir, and then hopefully it'll sink and the fish will get a chance to eat it. Yeah, so I'll do another video on how I make that. It's going to be pretty basic. Okay, thanks.